George of the jungle, strong as he can be.
So why does the buyer, in addition to the seller, each need to pay for a policy of title insurance on a single transaction? This is a question that we get a lot, and I'm going to answer part of that in the creditjungle.com today. This is George Anderson. Thanks for joining. And I think most people can understand why a seller is paying for title insurance, because they're warranting to the buyer that they don't have any undisclosed encumbrances or liens or anything that would cloud or impair their ability to convey that title when the buyer comes in with their down payment money and their mortgage money to cash out the seller. But there's typically going to be another policy of title insurance on the buyer's side of it. And the buyer's like, well, what's that all about? We already have title insurance one policy. Why are there two? So we're just going to talk a little bit about the nature of judgments, liens, and other types of legal notices and how they affect a buyer to a transaction. So when we are doing a mortgage loan, we always call it a first mortgage versus everybody knows what a second mortgage is. It's a mortgage that you have on top of your first mortgage. But the first mortgage lender wants to ensure that when their mortgage, and we're just going to just show this as, just kind of an entity right here, they want to make sure that there's nothing between the house and that first lien that would have some sort of a priority that might sneak into here at the last minute and create a problem. So what kind of things are that? Well, one of them could be a judgment, and it can be from a creditor, it can be from a lawsuit, a civil proceeding, a criminal proceeding, anything on there that might have some sort of monetary damages or numbers attached to it. And how does it affect you buying your house? Because there's a good chance it's not on your credit report. Well, the title company, what they will do is they will do, right prior to recording, they will check public records one last time. And they'll normally do this just within a few hours of when they record this mortgage on here, because they want to see from the time that they issued the title policy, as this timeline goes along that the loan's in process, that to the time that the loan is going to be recorded, that nothing happened within maybe that 30-day period there. And how could a judgment that wasn't here now, how can it affect it when we get to here? Well, if the date here is March 1st, okay, and we've got a judgment that maybe went into effect here on 2/15, and we started our title process here on March 1st, the title search is going to pull this up here, and this judgment by definition has a priority date to the mortgage. The best way I know how to explain this is that these judgments and liens, if you don't own any property, they are basically like a parasite, pardon my illustration here, but they're a parasite looking for a host. And until you own real property, there is nothing that can really host that judgment or lien. So all of a sudden now here comes a house, okay, and it's got improvements attached to real property, tax ID number, it's real estate, okay, remember this is the real part of the real estate. Well, this judgment didn't have anything to attach to except maybe a social security number or a name and an address with a birth date prior to that, but all of a sudden it goes bango and here it is. The same would be true with if there's a tax lien, state or federal or even municipal. And then legal notices. I mean, there can be like a notice of default. If it came up on the seller's side, that would be the seller's problem. But there can be things from a divorce, it could be child support. I mean, it could be anything. You can, Jax, who is the title attorney that has joined us on these, is that somebody could sue somebody for chewing gum if they wanted to. I mean, it's not going to stick, but I mean, it can create some hassle and slow things down. So the title company is insuring to the lender when they have this policy of title insurance that they have done their due diligence, checked these public records, and they are saying, no, we are going to give insurance to the mortgage company that their lien has first priority, okay? Now, once that loan is recorded, you purchased the home, you bought it, you have a warranty deed, you're in first place here. All of a sudden now, maybe you got into trouble after March 1st, after this recording date on there, and any judgments, liens, or anything like that, they're just going to come in based on not the amounts that they are, but the dates in which they were perfected. So, I mean, you could have a tax lien that could come in here, a judgment come in here, This is technically second place, this is third place, and then now you decide, well, I want to go out and get a home equity line of credit, which is a fancy term for a second mortgage. And the second mortgage company is going to be going, sure, based on your income and your credit and everything else, we can give you a second mortgage on the home, but they're going to look at this and go, but we need to clean out number 2 and number 3 here, because that second mortgage, if it were to be recorded after these dates, if they go in succeeding order, it's not a second mortgage, it's basically, they're in 4th position and they don't want that. So they're going to require that their lien includes enough money to take out these two. And that amount that you're going to get here, if that was going to be $50,000 that they approved the line of credit for, but you had 10 grand here, 10 grand there, well, the first $20,000 is going to be drawn out to clear out those lien positions. The first mortgage stays in place. Then your second mortgage now is in 2nd position, not 4th position. So hopefully that explains that a little bit. I'm not going to try to get into too deep of a discussion on title insurance, but this is what a lender is wanting title insurance for from the buyer, to make sure that there's nothing that is going to sneak in between this ground level here and where that first lien comes down, that there's nothing in between it. So hopefully that makes sense. Thanks for coming into thecreditjungle.com today. This is George Anderson, and I would love to talk to you about your situation. Have a great day.